Three, two, one. Welcome back. We took a short break and now we're back. This is Witchwood Lightforge Arena card list review, card by card analysis, and telling you what the scores are so you can draft good and win more games with Adwicta and Merps.
Merps.
I'm Adwicta.
All right. So, are we doing legendaries as well?
We should. We'll do legendaries at the end of this. Let's knock these out because we spent a lot of time on the really good ones that we want you to pick. Now here are ones that are like kind of okay, and then we're gonna go really fast over ones that like just don't touch them when you can.
All right. So we just did Worgen Abomination last time. Right now, next we have Rotten Applebaum, which is a 107. And this thing is, you know, once again, understated. It is a 5-mana, 4/5
taunt. I want to emphasize this. It's understated. I don't know why. Like, I keep hearing people thinking this is going to be like the next amazing card. It's not. It's so understated. It's good. It's above average, but it's not like, I don't know.
5/5s are a thing, man. Like that's it, right? Like you put this out and you don't even need a properly statted, statted, like a 5/6.
Everything kills it.
Yeah.
And like you gain 4 health. Okay. Like this is so not curve.
Right. But, once again, you do like restoring health to your hero does matter more now, right?
I don't know if it matters more. It matters kind of the same as it's always mattered.
It matters. Like it matters. So it prevents it from being like a bad card, right? This thing's a 107. It's good. You might pick it depending on the buckets.
All right, Phantom Militia. So this is our first Echo card. If you don't know what Echo is, it means you can play it as many times as you want on the same turn. So you can play 2 of these on turn 6 or higher, and 3 of these on turn 9 or higher. And one thing about Echo cards that you may not know, you probably don't, is that the algorithm is currently not doing this right. It's doing it like almost all correct, but there's a little hitch and we caught it, and it's messing some stuff up. So all Echo cards you see in this stream / this video series are going to be a little bit lower, and rest assured we will fix the issue before things go live on Thursday. This is kind of the early preview of the card reviews. So we don't have the final number. It's a 106 right now. That means it can't be a 106. It'll be lower than a 106. I don't know how low it'll go. It won't go too low though. And that's because it is a 3-mana 2/4 with upside, right? With taunt and upside. And it will stop aggro. And on turn 9, you may really legitimately want 3 of these over, like, let's say a Bach Reaper, because you have to hit this 3 times and it has 12 health. So it's not a bad card even on turn 9.
Yeah. So it is understated, right? And each time you play it, you are getting something that is going to be understated. But flexibility is good. Like options are important in the arena, right? Your deck is not like a well-oiled machine, and you're not going to always have answers or like the best thing to play. So basically all Echo minions are going to be like somewhat decent, even if they are understated.
See, here's where I'm going to disagree that they're going to be somewhat decent. We have some Echo minions rated very low, actually. And they're only about to go lower.
Yeah, I mean, it offers something that you don't get as like without Echo, right?
Oh, you mean they're better than without Echo? Yeah, the ability is a positive ability.
The ability is a positive ability. Okay, I'll just say
strong statements from Merps.
Dude. Tune in tomorrow when I tell you if the Earth is round.
Oh, let's not be controversial here, okay?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So Phantom Militia. I see people in the chat are like, "What? 106 and getting lower? Why isn't it higher? It's the best card, we've seen, or at least on par with some of these other ones, like a Swift Messenger, for example." Here's the thing with Echo. Echo is mostly going to be low, especially when the Echo has no initiative. Your Echo initiative cards are going to end up doing okay, but Echo with pure minions is going to be low. Like, think about what a 7-mana 7/7 is rated. It's pretty bad. Now, think about what if you split the stats up in like really unfavorable fashions for the late game, which is what 2/4 is
so bad. The 2/4 stat line is so bad in the late game. Yeah.
Now, also consider the presence of hard removal. I mean, not hard removal, board clears. What do board clears do? They deal the same amount of damage to every minion. What are you doing when you echo? You are putting the same health minion out on the board multiple times. Like, it's fine if you have an empty board, but outside of an empty board, these are just, like, not very good things to play. Of course, again, Echo's a positive ability, as we say.
Right, because it gives you... Look, sometimes it's like, look, is playing a bad War Golem bad? Yes. But sometimes you just have to play the bad War Golem, and you're okay with that because it's Arena.
Yeah.
Right?
But it just means, like, I don't know how people can think this card is that much better, right? Like, anyway, at least that's not where we're starting off. We'll see how slow this meta actually is. We'll see if Phantom Militia is actually coming out for 9 mana every time it's not a 3-drop. And also, one more thing about Phantom Militia in particular, 2/4 is not a very good 3-drop. 2/4s are kind of good at taking care of 3/2s. There's not that many 3/2s left. There's not that many 2s left. So your 2/4s are kind of just like hanging out there, not doing all that much. Technically trading with 3/3s, getting dominated by 4/3s, not doing too well against the 3/4s that are out there. It's just when 3-drop qualities have gone up so much as they have, your 2/4s are really don't look good. Your 3/3s also don't look good.
Yep. Okay, so I think that's enough with Phantom Militia. Currently 106, but will be a little bit lower. Next card is Hench Clan Thug, 3 mana, 3/3. After hero attacks, give this minion +1/+1. The neutral score, which means nothing because, you know, there's no, like, neutral class.
Yeah, but it's like an average of all these.
Right, it's a 104, but let's talk about it in, let's say, the best class, Rogue.
I don't know if we've done that yet.
Oh, well, it is really good in Rogue right now, according to our list, which I do agree with.
Oh, no, we have done it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we did do it.
Right. So if you want to show people what it is in Rogue,
yes.
In Rogue, right now, this score, and don't look at the other scores for Rogue for now. Don't look at the other scores, guys. Mainly because a lot of those scores have to change, or you don't want those. Hench Clan Thug is a 170, like super duper premium, right? Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. You have 2 charges for a hero power, so your hero power turns into equip a dagger, and like on each turn, give this thing +1/+1. That's real good.
Yeah,
that's real good. So on turn 3, like if you dagger, you put this down on turn 3, and you just hit something with it. It's a 3 mana 4/4, and if they don't kill it on the next turn, you just attack again with your leftover dagger, and it gains another +1/+1, right? And it can continue to snowball like that. So in Rogue, this thing is super duper good, and obviously for a class like, you know, Mage.
And remember, what do you want to do as a Rogue on turn 2?
You want a dagger because 2-drops suck. I learned this through this video series. Thank you so much, Out of 10 Burps.
So you start out with a 4/4 that if they don't kill the next turn, which they probably won't because it's a 4/4 on turn 3, you get a 5/5. Like, and it's not like it's using up your dagger, right? If you have targets for your dagger, it's still hitting targets.
Yeah. Yep.
The downside is not that you lose your dagger charge. This does not eat your dagger charge. It's just that you're forced to use your dagger charge at a time that may not be the best, but it could be the best.
Yep. So anyways, this thing obviously really, really good in Rogue, and if you're
wondering about other ones, like, we'll show Druid to show you that we're not insane about this card. It's a 106 in Druid. Yeah. Like, how different is that between Rogue and Druid?
I mean, a world of difference. But
and I will say this, it's not like fully done in Rogue. It's not actually going to be a 170, but it's going to be like above a 150.
Right. So
don't, like, I don't want people, I know, like, because I'm looking at it now. We have notes that this is not fully done. Because right now what it's doing in Rogue is it's actually giving +2/+2 on the first hit. It hasn't been split up yet.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
and then it doesn't get it on the second hit.
Right. So this thing will be at around like a 150.
Yeah, it'll be like closer to a 150. But still, you know, that means it's not a Basilisk, but it's still the 3rd best card in Rogue in the neutral category.
Depending on the buckets, you know, you might pick it.
Well, and here's the thing with the buckets. Usually, they don't adjust by class. It's just overall. So in Rogue, you would definitely pick this card. It's definitely a pick card for Rogue.
Yeah. I mean, if that happens, then you want to play Rogue and then get like the below average bucket where this thing's at, right?
Yeah.
And then just pick this like every freaking time.
Yeah. Speaking of Rogue, I guess it's time to talk about the worst card in the entire set of Witchwood neutrals, which you might think is the card with 0 attack and no ability, but it is not. The worst card is Marshdrake. Marshdrake is a 3-mana 5/4 dragon, and it has a battle cry that says kill itself.
Well, not necessarily. But it has a battle cry. Summon a 2/1 poisonous Drake Slayer for your opponent.
So this Marshdrake, if you play it on an empty board on turn 3 or on any other turn when you don't have something to kill off the 2/1, you basically did nothing and wasted 3 mana. So it's pretty bad. Neutral's supposed to be an average of all the things, but we haven't actually done this card for Rogue yet because it's a little difficult. But we're working on it.
Better for Rogue. Like you can see, better for Rogue.
So it's currently a 23 right now, and what that means is it's probably something like a 20 for all the other classes. It's bad. Like it's a bad card, guys. Like a really bad card. Like it makes Magma Rager look overpowered card levels of bad. In non-ping classes. But in ping classes, I'm not even going to say it's good in ping classes. Because a lot of people are like, oh, but it's totally good in Mage. In Mage, it's a 5-mana 5/4. That's not good. That's bad.
Or I also see this. They're like, oh, if you just have 1/1s, it's fine. And in which case, let's break down that argument for a second.
Well, no, you're not fine. Then it's a 3-mana 4/3 essentially, because you've lost 1/1's worth of stats.
Right. So I think some people like it's just sort of treat it's like number 1, I will just randomly have tokens.
And number 2, I found a synergy, so it's the best card ever.
And number 2, my tokens don't matter for some reason. Like, and this is something that we consistently see, and also why something like Swashbuckler or Babbling Book is so good, right? Because that 1/1 matters. Like, it matters so much. It's why like Grim Necromancer is actually like a pretty decent card, even though the 2/4 body is really bad, right? You are still getting rid of a 1/1 if all you're doing is the best possible situation, getting rid of a 1/1, right?
And more to the point, this is not that overstated, guys. This is overstated by like 2 stats. And it gives your opponent not only 3 stats, but also poisonous, which is worth way more stats. It's a really horrible card. So now people are like left. When this card came up, everyone's like, Rogue. It's true. You dagger on 2.
Much better in Rogue.
Right? You do the same thing. This is what we're talking about it now, because you do the same thing as this Henge Clan Thug thing. You dagger on 2, which is what you want to do anyway. And then, regardless of whether your opponent plays into your dagger or not, you play the Marshdrake, you kill their 2/1, and all of a sudden you play the 3-mana 5/4. But keep in mind, you are still using up a charge, right? That's the difference. Your Henge Clan Thug, you don't use up the charge. You may not be using it very well, but you can use the charge onto another minion or something. Marshdrake forces you to use up your charge, which is to deal 1 damage. And what are you getting out of it? You're getting +1/+1 of stats. Like, yes, it is good in that situation, but it's not like the most game-winning, amazing thing that we've done. And this only happens if 1, you don't have a better 2-drop to play on turn 2, and 2, you actually have Marshdrake in your hand in the early game. In the late game, what is Marshdrake? It's a 5-mana 5/4 that gives you 1 charge of the dagger and deals 2 phase damage to you. That's still not good. Like, the same way 5-mana 5/4s are not good in Mage, this scenario I just laid out, where it's a 5-mana 5/4 that gives you 1 charge of a dagger and you take 2 phase damage, is not good in Rogue. So there's one very narrow scenario that it is good. And we're trying to calculate that scenario right now in the algorithm, which obviously involves very specific, coding that we haven't gotten to yet. But rest assured, this card is below average even in Rogue. Like,
Yeah.
this is not an average card in Rogue, much less like a good card, as I think way too many people consider.
In Rogue, right?
Yeah, in
Like,
Rogue.
yeah.
But even in Rogue, it's at best an average card.
Yep. So, okay. Wow. All right. You just chose to introduce like the worst card
Well,
right
because
there.
it went off of the Hench Clan Thug thing with the
Oh,
rogues
okay.
and everything.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have my reasons.
Right. Okay. Next card is a card in which a lot of people have been, getting hyped about, right?
It's a pretty good card.
It is Voodoo Doll. Voodoo Doll in the neutral sort of class is a 104, but once again, this is something that's also very class specific.
Yep.
Voodoo Doll, 3 mana, 1/1, battlecry, choose a minion, death rattle, destroy the chosen minion.
In a mage, it's just like a better assassinate. Because
it's
can
really good.
Yeah. Or maybe a worse one. I don't know. We're calculating that one right now.
It's better, or maybe it's worse. It's one of
like
those.
you do. Well, because you have to use your hero power, so it blocks your hero power for a turn. But on the other hand, you don't have to use your hero power. So, whereas in Assassinate, you have to spend 5 mana. Here, you could just spend 3 mana if you have other stuff you need to be doing.
Right.
So we'll calculate that out. That's not actually that hard to calculate out. It's just we're trying to piece it together with the card, which we didn't really have to do as much.
So, anyways, this is something which you're just gonna have to check out the class by class score. Like the neutral score basically tells you very little.
Well, no, just mage is the only special class.
Oh, okay. And there, okay, sure, just mage. Sorry, for some reason I thought like you could hit it with the rogue. I'm really tired.
You cannot hit your own minions with the rogue.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, who really knows? Like
I understand rogue has cards like backstab and betrayal.
Come on, like that's really not important. And like that's a fact that like we're really nitpicking here. Okay, that is like you cannot test me on stuff that is that like that unknown. Okay. All right, let's move on.
Before we move on with this, I don't think we talked enough about what the Voodoo Doll actually does, which is whatever minion you target, it's dead. It trades with every single opponent 3-drop on curve. Like, yeah, I don't mean that this 1/1 is very easy to die. Just pretend the 1/1 body reads your opponent minion dies the next turn, right? Like a corruption. Like, that's still pretty insane. If it is a 3 mana corruption for a non warlock class.
Right, and they can choose to go face and ignore it, but that just means you have an extra 1/1 to hit somewhere else next turn, right? Which is not bad at all. So good card. We're definitely going to see this, or I think we should see this fairly often.
Yep. Chief Inspector, not much to say about it. It's a 5 mana 4/6, which is normally not a very good stat distribution, especially because we think 5 health is worth so much, and so people are going to pick 5 health stuff very highly. But it does destroy all enemy secrets, which is why it's up here in an above average card. Like, we don't know what classes are going to be favored, but we're guessing Hunter's not it. So it's going to be Mage and Paladin. We do know, like, if you were to ask me right now what the best 2 classes are going to be, like, knowing nothing about the buckets or anything, I think odds are on Rogue and Paladin. Both because of the Witchwood class cards and because of what cards have exited. And we'll talk about it more in each class, but that means secrets in Paladin, and Paladin have some, like, secret cards. Mage has some secret cards in this expansion, and Mage is always popular, so you're going to get some value out of this guy.
Yep. Okay. All right. So next we
talked about the Tangle for Mystic already.
Yeah. We talked about it. So
we're gonna
3 mana 3/4s.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a Swamp Leech, and by that I mean we're not gonna talk about it. It's a 1 mana 2/1 lifesteal.
Yay!
If you need us to talk about it, this is not the video for you. I feel like you need to go in a more basic video and figure out how that part of the game works before this. But like, it's a Swamp Leech, it's
2 attack means it has 2 attack. 1 health means it has 1 health.
Lifesteal means it could potentially heal you for a bunch, but with 1 health, it probably won't.
Yeah.
All right. Pumpkin Peasant, go for it. A real card.
A real card, and this is one of the ones that was basically given to us very early.
Before we talk about Pumpkin Peasant, people in chat want to talk about Swamp Leech and why it's so high. It is kind of high. It's a 98, but this is neutral. Let's put it in Mage, and you'll see what Swamp Leech is actually worth. Because neutral averages everything, so it builds in Warlock and Rogue. Okay, it's a 96 in Mage. It's not. It didn't really quite make my point as much as I was hoping it would.
I was already looking at it there. I'm like,
okay. Murloc Raider is at 81. Swamp Leech is a 96. That's 15 points for the ability to heal your face potentially infinitely.
I mean,
but at least a couple times if
right.
people aren't pinging.
Here's the thing. It's like the health gain matters, right? And no, it will not give you that health gain super often. But it's like at a certain point, there's a balance here. And I think some people still have like this deep hatred. It's like, man, I cannot draft 2/1s. Like a 1-mana 2/1, it's like it is just dead. And yes, sometimes it will die to hero power. And a lot of people are just like that's the thing I hear about the most, right? It's like, dude, it just dies to hero power. And end of discussion, period. That means it is terrible. Never pick it. Like, no, that's not the end of the discussion there.
People are saying, how does it compare to Voodoo Doctor? It's not as good as Voodoo Doctor. Voodoo Doctor and Mage, for example, is a 101. And Swamp Leech is a 96. Because Voodoo Doctor can heal minion, which is tempo, which is a lot better. But still, like, here's the thing with 1-mana minions, too. It's already a 2/1. It's already, like, on curve for a mana. Like, if it does anything else, it's really good. It's kind of where 1-mana 2/1s end up. And remember what we keep saying about the curve. When 2-drops don't matter and people can't take good 2-drops, your 1-drops get a lot better because there's no 2-drops eating your 1-drops. And because you're taking more 3, so you want to go for the 1/3/3 curve with the coin. Like, all that means that you kind of want to take some 1-drops over 2-drops even. And when a 1-drop is also able to do something, it's just, it has value. God, we spent so much time talking about Swamp Leech. Pumpkin Peasant, go, go, go!
All right, Pumpkin Peasant is 97. And, okay, look, Lifesteal, once again, it's fairly decent. And on turn 3... whether it is a 2/4 or a 4/2, it definitely, like, look, it matters. It's going to be awkward, but it's not so polarized in the like the other cards are, right? And when the stats get
there's
a little
no
closer,
rush. Like, without rush, these cards are kind of just there. You can turn plan a little. They're just a minion, you know. Like,
it's okay. Yeah. This is one of those in which also, like, your sort of hatred of the swap, it's only because of, like,
it's only because of rush. I don't hate the swap mechanic normally. I just hate it with rush.
Yeah. So with this, look, you're gonna see it, and a lot of the times on turn 3, like, especially if the board is empty, you're just gonna play it. You kind of don't really care. Yeah.
And people who are wondering why this is not a 100 or over, because Lifesteal, we just said Lifesteal was an okay thing. Okay, Lifesteal on a normally well-statted minion is a pretty good bonus. A Lifesteal that actually costs this minion a stat point when it does not have that many stat points to begin with is as if the Lifesteal was given to a 1/1. And we do have a 1/1 Lifesteal minion, and it does not do very well on this tier list for that reason. So that's why Pumpkin Peasant, despite all of its greatness, is actually only like a 96 or something. 97?
Once again,
97.
For 3 mana, you're expecting a 3/4 or a 4/3.
Yeah, and like, there's so many great 3-drops. Like, this is eating a spot. That's the real problem with this guy.
Yep.
Like, it's eating a spot for something else. Okay, next one. You want to talk about the Scale Worm, Mr. 4-mana 4/4 if you are holding a dragon, which you should not be holding a dragon because there's not a lot of dragons in this meta anymore.
Yeah, if you're holding a dragon, gain +1 attack and rush. So if you are holding a dragon for some reason, also this is like holding a dragon. It's not like if it's in your deck or something. Just holding a dragon. This is freaking amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is really, really good. But most of the time, like the vast majority of the time, it is a 4-mana 4/4, which we know is not good.
Yep. That's why if you're looking at, like, there's not even that many dragon classes anymore. The Dragon and Operative is rotating out. Priest is still the dragon class, but you're still not even going to average 2 dragons and a priest. Like, dragons are a little iffy these days.
And once again, it has to be in your hand.
Yeah, that doesn't mean with 10.4 that you can't make dragon decks. You totally can make dragon decks, especially if you're offered, like, you know, a series of bad cards with an okay dragon, and you start off that way. You build your deck towards that. It's fine. It's 10.4. You can make any kind of decks you want. But just know that only do that when your deck is going there. Don't just, like, reach out and pretend dragons are a thing.
Yep. Okay. So next card.
Okay, I'll talk about this card because this card is going to make people angry at me. It is a 92 and about to go down. It's not going to go down that much. This is not a card that's going to, because it's Echo and we have a bug in Echo. But the bug really affects cards that have like no tempo and are low mana. This card has decent tempo for an Echo card and costs the highest, 3 mana rather than 2, which is the highest mana Echo cards cost. So this is not going to be affected too much, but it's still going to go down a few points. Which means to the people who... I bet there's a lot of people who saw this card and said this is an above average card. Because sure, it's a 3 mana 3/3, it doesn't do much. But in the late game, it's a 9 mana with, 3/3/3/3/3/3. And that's a lot of card advantage. And next to the Phantom Militia, you can see why the Phantom Militia with the Taunt and the 2/4 is much better. And if that's only a 106 and going down, this is going to go down even more. It's... like bad.
Find your words. Find your words.
Curve.
I will jump in here. I got you.
Okay, because it's like on curve, it doesn't match up with the other good 3 drops.
Okay. Yes.
Late game.
Let's extract that out. Yes. Okay. Late game. Yes.
Late game, it gets removed by most board clears, and it, for 9 mana, is not really putting a ton of stats out there. So it's a horrible late game card that is an option, and you're really only getting card advantage.
Right. Look. Lots of times with these Echo cards, you kind of have to play them on turn 3, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not like if you save them for a long time, you get extra value. No, on turn 6, you just get double 3/3s, which is pretty crappy on turn 6. So on turn 3, if you play it then, you're getting dominated by 3/4s. And as we said, there's going to be, 3/4s are definitely going to be prominent within the meta. So pretty easily, I think we can see why this is not great.
Yeah. You can see, for example, the Mage is 97. The 92 means it's being brought down a bit, most likely by classes like Warlock, for example, which don't care about card advantage. So it's a little lower in neutral, but like really, it's going to lose a couple points on this. So 92 is probably where it's going to end up, like for Mage. Yep. Echo's not that good when it comes to just summoning minions on the board. You're only gaining card advantage, and you're not getting that much of card advantage. And it's like they're usually done in ways in which on turn 9 you really don't want a bunch of 3/3s on the board. That's not what's going to help you.
Yep. Okay, so next we have Witch's Cauldron. Interesting card. Neutral score is a 91, and whenever or after a friendly minion dies, add a random shaman spell to your hand, 3 mana, 0/4. This is a card in which, man, it could really, really suck in your hand, right? But it could also be, you have 2 minions, you're going to trade anyways, and you might as well put an 0/4 body out there and draw 2 shaman spells. And yes, there are some pretty bad shaman spells, but you're drawing spells, period. Mm-hmm. And drawing spells, even random ones, is really freaking good because spells typically give you initiative.
Wait, does Witch's Cauldron give you a spell when it dies? Does it consider itself a friendly minion? Because I know we're not considering it a friendly minion.
Yeah, I didn't.
Does it? I don't really know. I never thought about it. But currently it's scored as if it does not.
Yeah, I don't... I would think not, but...
Yeah, I'm guessing not.
I would think not. But, it's something that's interesting. Okay. I don't think... Oh, right. So people are saying it's dead, master. So it can't activate.
Fine.
Okay.
That's good. That means we'll see less Witch's Cauldron.
Dies, right. So it dies first, so it can't activate its minion. Okay. Like it's a minion effect. Okay.
Alright. Ravencaller. Add 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. Here's the thing about 1-cost minions. They're not good after turn 1. And when you get these in your hand, it's going to be after turn 1.
And, this isn't even like a 3 mana 3/1, which had some applicability only in the earlier meta because of 4/3s, right? Mm-hmm. This is a 3 mana 2/1.
You can't play it on curve. I don't know what... They're, also random. I don't know what the... you have to be building a very specific constructed type deck that can really use 1-cost cards, right? Or, things that trigger per minion, like a token deck, or, combo stuff, or every time you play a card something happens, questing adventures stuff or whatever. There's some synergies this card could work with, but the penalty is way too high because of constructed implications. So in the arena it's just not good.
Next card, Witchwood Piper, is a 84, 4 mana, 3/3 battlecry. Draw the lowest cost minion from your deck.
Hey, does that remind you of Ravencaller?
I mean, look, it's both understated, and they're like, if you were to just draw a card with impact, that'd be fine. But you're drawing in for Ravencaller 1 drops, and here you're just drawing like
1 or 2
a
drops.
1 drop. Yeah, exactly. So, and it's a minion, right?
Yeah.
You can't draw like just the lowest cost
Spell.
thing, right? So
Bad.
The next card,
Mad Hatter 82.
I'm
fine. You can talk about it. You can talk about it.
Okay. No. You go ahead. Take this away from me. That's fine.
All right. So a hat gives +1/+1 to whatever minion it hits. He throws hats randomly. He throws 3 of the hats. What that means is you should probably never play this card if your opponent has any minions on the board.
You can't.
The hat has to hit 2 of them on your minions, and then 1 of them on nobody for this card to be worth it.
I will say. So I love the design of this card.
I love this card too.
Holy cow, the design of this card is so good.
The card itself is not good.
No, but the design around him, just like, it's so good. The design is so good. Like, oh my god, hats off to the person who made it.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay, so like I was calculating this, right? So you have to throw 2 hats to yourself and no hats to the opponent. Since he has to throw 3 hats around, that means you have to throw 3 hats to yourself and no hats to your opponent, which really means you have to, like, have you ever played, like, if your opponent has a minion, you have a minion, you play a bomber, and it hits all 3 times on your opponent's minion and no times on your minion? Like, it's not as difficult as that because you can't hit face also, but, like, it just doesn't happen that often. So it's like 1/8 of the time. So don't do that. If any hat hits your opponent, this is a really bad card. So you only play it when your opponent has a clear board. Make all your trades before then. If you need to, play another minion before playing the Mad Hatter. Like, if you can just clear your opponent's board. Like, you don't have to get initiative with these +1/+1s.
Yeah. So let me... I just want to lay out 3 quick scenarios to get people to understand this card. Mad Hatter is a 3/2, which on turn 4 means you're getting -2/-2 on the stats of the Mad Hatter, right? So when you are like in the best case scenario for you, you only have minions on your side. They don't have minions on their side, so you're already winning, right? Like that's pretty good. So you are gaining net +1/+1 on what you should.
It's a win more card with very low upside.
Right, exactly. That's it. It's like you're already winning, and what do you get for the win more? +1/+1 over what you should get. And to be fair, it has initiative, right? But
sure.
Let's say the board is in contention. You're gambling that and you play this, you're gambling that like this will go okay for you, right? And you could just lose the game if the board is still in contention and you need this to hit to make a trade or something.
Yeah.
And then when you are losing like a decent amount, you might as well just play this to give them the win fast.
So there's way too much RNG in this card, and what's fortunate about this is that it's going to be a crappy card for everybody because it's just a crappy card. So we're not even going to see it. Like, that, like, it's not like bad players are picking this card when they don't have to, right? Like, and it's gonna have lower offering odds because it's so bad and it'll have a bad win rate, even for bad players. So it's a not problematic high RNG card.
Yep.
All right, Spell Shifter. Here's your basically only 2-drop of the meta. It's a 1/4. It's a 4/1. It has spell damage. It's not good. Let's move on.
Yep. Okay, we have Wormguard, which is a 7 mana 3/11. Once again, they love making these.
Yeah, we're down to 81 scores. Like you don't want to pick these cards at all at this point. You don't even like it. Doesn't like.
Anyways,
it's a 4/12 taunt for 7 mana if you pull off the trigger. Like I feel like it should just be a 4/12 taunt and be a good card.
Well, then it would actually be like a good card.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a super premium card. It would just be a good card.
It would just be a good card. But anyways, as it is, no.
Yeah.
And Vicious Scalehod, we talked a little bit about this, but right now it is an 80. So this thing, for 2 mana, you you rush a 1/3 beast with lifesteal. Very little lifesteal, very little impact with rush. Not great.
Yeah. Like, compared to Bluegill Sniper, 2/1, deal the same 1 damage the turn it comes out. Um, way better. So this is just, it's meant to be a combo card, right? Like you buff it when it comes out or something. Like or you buff it in your hand or something. There's stuff you could do with it, but not in the arena, very likely.
Yep.
Quadrant Elemental. Here's your Elemental. It's an 8 mana 7/7. Your other Elementals have +2 attack. So there's actually a bunch of Elementals. You're not going to be hurting for Elementals. And because they took out 3 sets that had no Elementals, basically, and Ungoro is now featured more prominently, just because they removed so many cards, you're actually going to get a decent number of Elementals compared to before. Like, Elementals are more of a thing now than they were in the past 2 metas. But this card is still bad. Because your other elementals only have +2 attack, and this is already losing like 3 stats off of 8 mana, 8 and 9, which would not even be a good card. Like, you have to have multiple elementals. They have to use this ability on many turns in a row. Like, it's just bad.
Yep.
Darkmire Moonkin. I don't need to explain it. It's a 7 mana 2/8 with spell damage +2. It's 7 mana, which means you probably can't play a lot of the spells you really want to on the same turn you play this to use its spell damage. It's gonna live, but like you really have to have the cards to combo with it.
So much worse than Jungle Moonkin, which costed a lot less.
Yeah, Jungle Moonkin has opponents being able to do it too, though.
Right, but it meant that with the lower cost, you could play something at the same turn.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like you can play the Jungle Moonkin swipe combo, right? Like we're all familiar with that.
Right, and that was really good. Or Jungle Moonkin plus the Starfire.
Yeah, this is the Darkmire Moonkin plus Arcane Explosion, and then you're like a little happy because it's not even that great.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, next card is Life Drinker, 4 mana 3/3 Beast, Battlecry. Deal 3 damage to the enemy hero, restore 3 health to your hero. It's like, look, so this is sort of God, I'm forgetting that card. The 5 mana 4/4 that deals like, yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
I
forgot the card. Oh, Nightblade. I see it.
Nightblade, right?
It's actually rated like right next to Nightblade. It's 1 point higher than Nightblade.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. It deals less damage than Nightblade, like, initially, but it does restore some health, right? Yeah. And you are actually like, I can see this card like preventing me from a win or just killing me outright, right? And it'll happen, but lots of times you just can't afford the 4 mana 3/3.
Yep. Swamp Dragon Egg, 1 mana 0/3. Death Rattle, add a random dragon to your hand.
74 score.
It's just whatever. 71 score, don't take it. Unpowered Steambot, also known as Bastion.
Dude.
Love this picture.
I love this picture, right?
It's a 09 taunt. Don't take it. We don't have to tell you not to take it. 5 mana. Here's an interesting card. So this one's not done yet. This is the score here are for the classes that can't use this ability. It's a 5 mana 4/4, and it's double the damage and healing of your hero power. So this is a 69 for classes that are not like Mage or Hunter or like...
Hunter likes this card.
Hunter likes this card. But keep in mind, this guy has to stay alive for you to do that. And if you're looking at Mage, for example, it's a 7 mana 4/4, deal 2 damage. Like, it's not worth it. It has to stay alive a number of turns for it to be worth it. So don't, like... It's not like this card's going to be good in Hunter or Mage. This card's going to be, like, maybe draftable in Hunter and Mage. That's as good as you're going to get out of it. Like, it's still a bad card. It's just not as awful as a 70 in those classes.
Yep.
What else do we have that we could go over? Oh, this card I actually want to talk about. Sandbinder. It's a 4 mana 2/4 Battlecry, draw an elemental from your deck. You would think that it's like a Gnomish Inventor, except you're only drawing elementals, right? And Gnomish Inventor is rated almost a 100. But this card's rated at 68 because you don't have that many elementals. Now, you go to a class in which Sandbinder actually has some elementals, like Mage, for example, and it is an 80. It's still not high, partly because there are chances in which you don't draw an elemental. Some Mage elementals aren't spells or like other things, but also because elementals are not that good to begin with. That is not the same as drawing a card from your deck. The quality of elementals is fairly low right now as an overall kind of like proposition.
Right.
So, and that's mostly what the card does. So the quality of the card you draw is going to be very important. Like, this is a very bad card for most classes, and a pretty bad card for Mage and Shaman.
Yep, sounds good. So here next we have the Fell Soul Inquisitor, 65, 4 mana, 1/6 demon with lifesteal and taunt. Not the stats you want. Although I remember I like sent you a message. Like I had a question. I mean, both this plus the Bastion, I'm already calling it the Bastion, the Unpowered Steambot are bad. Right now we have the Bastion a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah.
Because it protects you more.
Right. So our philosophy has been, and I just want to double check, sort of like at a certain point when like taunt is so much of your value, more taunt gives you more of your of like the value that you do have.
Yep.
Just because it's like you're just going for that taunt.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, this guy is just asking to be Swift whatevered. Swift messengered. Just asking for it.
Oh my god.
They built him for the Swift messenger. Okay. Night Prowler, it's a 4 mana 3/3. Battle Cry, if this is the only minion on the battlefield, gain +3/+3.
Okay. No, let me talk about this.
What? You actually want to talk? Go for it.
This is the one that I thought was the worst design card.
Why?
I hate cards like this in which it's just like you don't play around it. There's nothing like it is just bad.
What do you
like
mean it's just bad? I mean, okay, fine, it is a very bad card, but its ability does, like, it deals 4 extra damage, right, when you clear the board, and if you clear the board, your opponent can't clear it as easily.
Right. Well, here, like, if this is the only mini on the battlefield, right? So if, you get that...
Yeah, you're not trading with it.
State. Right. Wait, what?
You're not trading with it because you would only be able to trade if there's another minion on the battlefield.
What do you mean if... No. Like, it gains... Okay. Wait, what do you think it does?
Oh, so this card is wrong in the algorithm. Ignore
I was
going to
ask as well.
It's a totally different thing. We're going to do this in the coming days. So we have no idea where this card is rated right now, algorithmically.
It will not stop me from ranting.
Okay, keep ranting, because we don't know what this card... Okay, I haven't thought about this card then. I read it wrong.
Right. But, I mean, this is one of those things which I just hate, right? It's like... there's no real like counterplay from your opponents, right? And the swing is just so huge. It's either an extremely crappy 4 or an insanely good 4, right? And really, there's not much you can do here. You don't like play around Night Prowler. You definitely should not play around Night Prowler. And it just gives this huge swing kind of randomly, right? Like, without like anything that you can really consider on your end. So that's just what I really hate about this design. Like, and the swing is just so big. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Eerie Statue? No, this is nothing like Eerie Statue. Because remember, Eerie Statue, it's not a battle cry and it keeps all the gains. Eerie Statue has to be the only thing on the board, like, in order to operate. Like, this is just, you catch it at that moment, and it keeps all of the gains. So, yeah, like, I just, like, I think the design of this card is just really, really terrible.
Yep. Yeah, so don't ignore the 60. It's going to be much higher. Baleful Banker, 2 mana 2/2, Battlecry, choose a friendly minion, shuffle a copy of it in your deck. Not for Arena, it'll barely matter in Arena. It's just a 2 mana 2/2, it sucks. Lost Spirit, Death Rattle, give your minions +1 attack. It's as bad as it looks. It's a 53. These are like, you don't even take the Secret Keeper levels of bad. And we did the March Drake. Alright, so we're done. We're done with all the neutral cards besides Legendaries, which we will do now. Okay. So again, those are situationally useful cards potentially, but generally just pretty bad. When you get to that level of badness, there's no saving a card below 75, I think.
Pretty much.
Countess Ashmore is our highest rated legendary because our neutral legendaries are not really in the arena. There's only 3 of them. Countess Ashmore is a 7 mana 6/6 Battlecry, draw Rush, Lifesteal, and Death Rattle card from your deck. So a lot of Death Rattle cards are actually leaving the meta. You're not going to actually have that many Death Rattle cards. Like, we did the math. You're not going to have that many Death Rattle cards in your deck. It's not actually a guaranteed proposition to take a Death Rattle. And same with Rush. By our calculations, you're going to have something like 2.5 Rush cards in your deck on average, unless you're
I
like the
was
Warrior.
surprised at like sort of the low-ish score of this because I thought I was like, oh man, this card is going to be insane. But once you ran the numbers, I was like, oh, okay.
You're not going to take these cards, no, necessarily if they're offered in the correct buckets. Of course, if they like misallocate a couple of Rush cards to be like not amazing, all of a sudden Countess Ashmore also becomes better. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll use real up-to-date numbers when we get them in a couple weeks into the meta. Dollmaster Dorian, 5 mana, 2/5. Whenever you draw a minion, summon a 1/1 copy of it. It's not much to say about it. It's a 101. It's okay.
Like I like how we didn't put it at 100. It's like,
well, it's an algorithm, okay?
It is an algorithm.
Proof that it's an algorithm. Azalina Soul Thief is a 48. It's a horrible card. It's a 7 mana 3/3. Replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's. That's really good if you don't have a hand. So if you're making a very small deck, this is not as bad of a card as it is here. But in your average matchup, you're going to have a similar size deck to your opponent's, and this is a bad card. So this card will swing a lot depending on how big your deck is. Like, if you're an aggro deck, this is pretty damn good. But like to make it actually good, you have to effectively like be like 4 cards down from your opponent or something ridiculous.
Yep.
And remember, you can't play cards with this card because it's 7 mana. You're going to be able to play like 1 card at best. All right. Now we're done. Now we take a break, and we got class cards coming up after this. Before we go, I want to thank all of our patrons, patreon.com/grinninggoat. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot, and you guys should check it out if you want to support us. And also a shout out to all of our Twitch subs. I know we got a couple more while doing this that we haven't given a shout out to, and we'll do that right after this ends. All this really helps, and of course you don't have to drop money to support us. Just tell people about the Light Force, tell people about the Grinning Goat Twitch channel, YouTube channel, all of this stuff. We really appreciate the support. The way things go is by word of mouth, right? So we stream, what is it, like 4 nights a week now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we stream 4 nights a week live, and we put our 12 and 11 wins up on YouTube, and we have a podcast for those who are interested in the intellectual ramblings of me and Merps. All right, class cards coming up next, the exciting stuff. See you guys.
All right.
Whew.
Black Hawk Ground